BZ Watchdog News Network.
Tonight, we're going to talk about Gary Richard Colton of Live Oak, Texas, a man tied to the Live Oak Citizens Assisting Police Program, or LOCAP, according to the evidence and screenshots we've reviewed, and a man who keeps showing up in police reports, apartment disputes, Facebook attacks, and now the political battle surrounding Christina Lichtenberg, a small business owner who's running for mayor of Live Oak. And before anybody starts crying defamation, let's make this clear right up front. We are using public records, police reports, court filings, screenshots, Christina's own interview, and my opinion based on the documentation. Allegations are allegations. Opinions are opinions. But public records are public records. And what these records show, in my opinion, is a troubling pattern. A man who appears to insert himself into other people's lives, escalate neighborhood drama, run to the police, get accused of harassment himself, and then hide behind military imagery, city police proximity, and citizen on patrol credibility like he's wearing a badge. He is not a cop. But the bigger question is this. Why is someone with this much documented conflict around him allowed anywhere near a police-connected citizen patrol program? What's up, everybody? This is BZ Watchdog News Network. And as always, before we get into it, smash that like button, drop a comment, share this everywhere, and subscribe to the channel because sunlight is the best disinfectant. Today, we are going back to Live Oak, Texas, where Christina Lichtenberg says her business, her reputation, her movement, and now her political campaign have been dragged through the mud by a city-connected network of people who apparently believe public service means watching, tracking, posting, accusing, and intimidating citizens who ask too many questions. Christina is a small business owner. She says her salon was shut down. She was buried in code demands. She believes the city's flock surveillance system was being used to track her movements. And after she started questioning the city, she ended up criminally charged. And sitting right in the middle of this mess is one name, Gary Richard Colton. Chapter 1. Who is Gary Richard Colton? According to Live Oak Police Department records produced in response to public information requests, Gary Richard Colton appears repeatedly in police reports connected to 8101 Shin Oak Drive, the Springs at Live Oak apartment complex. We are not talking about one random report. We are talking about report after report, year after year. Loose dog dispute, stalking allegations, harassment concerns, suspicious vehicle calls, parking sticker complaints, Facebook message complaints, disturbance calls, doxxing allegations. And remember, Gary himself claimed in a federal court filing that he was subjected to more than 35 false police reports. But according to the Live Oak records returned, we have approximately 12 reports connected to this pattern, including reports he filed and reports involving complaints about him. So either Live Oak failed to produce a mountain of records, or Gary's 35 false reports claimed deserve serious scrutiny. Because in my opinion, that is where the pattern begins. Not with one person making one complaint, but with Gary Colton repeatedly appearing at conflicts involving neighbors, residents, women, minorities, and people he apparently believes he needs to monitor, correct, expose, or report. Chapter 2. The 2018 pattern begins. Let's start in 2018. In April of 2018, Gary Colton was the complainant in a disturbance report over a loose dog at Springs Apartments. According to the police report, the dispute involved two males and a resident allegedly letting dogs run loose without a leash. Now, by itself, that might sound minor, but that is the point. A loose dog issue becomes a police report. Then in August of 2018, Annissa Cromer reported she believed the neighbor at the apartment complex was stalking her. Gary Richard Colton is listed as involved. The supplement is even more concerning. Cromer says she used to live next to Gary Colton, became friendly with him, walked dogs with him, then began feeling uncomfortable. She said she moved to another building, but did not tell Gary because she wanted to stay away from him. She claimed he started walking in the same areas and at the same times, watching her, crouching with his dog, and making her feel uneasy. She said she intended to seek a restraining order. Then in 2018, Sonia Pulido reported that someone was placing disabled parking violation stickers on her vehicle and windows. She suspected a male driving a blue car with disabled veteran plates, though she had not personally witnessed him do it. Gary Colton is listed as involved in that report. Then in October 2018, Tammy Fabian filed a stalking report. Gary Richard Colton was listed as involved, and the report says the complainant completed an intent to prosecute form. Then in November 2018, Annissa Cromer filed another information/harassment report. This time, Gary Richard Colton is listed as suspect. The narrative says Cromer was upset because an individual she had prior issues with sent her friend a letter referencing her. So let's pause. 1 year, same apartment complex, multiple residents, multiple women, multiple complaints. Gary repeatedly listed. In my opinion, that does not look like a one-time misunderstanding. That looks like a pattern. Chapter 3. Gary's federal court filing and the 35 false reports claim. Fast forward to federal court. In a filing related to Tammy Fabian's federal case, Gary R. Colton told the court that Tammy Fabian and her son had allegedly been spreading false accusations against residents and management at Springs Apartment since October 20th, 2018. He claimed he had to deal with more than 35 baseless police reports filed with Live Oak Police. Now, that is a bold statement, but when public records were requested from Live Oak, the return did not show 35 reports. It showed a much smaller number connected to the names and incidents we have. So now the question becomes, was Gary exaggerating? Was he counting reports that don't exist? Did Live Oak withhold records? Or is this another example of Gary Colton presenting himself as the victim while the documents tell a messier story? Because the records we do have do not show a poor innocent man randomly attacked by 35 fake reports. They show repeated apartment conflicts where Gary was either the complainant, involved party, or suspect. That is not the same thing. Chapter 4. Christina Lichtenberg enters the picture. Now let's bring in Christina Lichtenberg. Christina is a small business owner in Live Oak. In her interview with me, she explained that she moved her salon into Live Oak after her previous location was sold. And then she says the city began burying her under occupancy permit, code, and inspection issues. She said her business was shut down from April 22nd until almost November 1st, which she described as devastating for a small business owner. She says the fire marshal kept showing up. She says the city kept moving the goalposts. She says the power was shut off. She says she was told she may need an expensive meter conversion. And then she raised a major issue: flock surveillance. Christina said she believed city officials and departments were unlawfully using the city's flock surveillance system to monitor her movements. In her words, this was not criminal surveillance. This was tied to code enforcement and city conflict. And whether every part of that allegation is proven or not, it is absolutely serious enough to demand records, logs, access audits, and answers. Because if a city is using police surveillance tools to help code enforcement, city officials, committee members, or politically connected people track a business owner, that is not public safety, that is government overreach. Chapter 5. The Facebook Message Harassment Report. On January 14th, 2026, Christina Lichtenberg filed a police report. The Live Oak Police Report lists Christina as the complainant and Gary Richard Colton as involved. The narrative says Christina told police that a male had been constantly harassing her by sending numerous unwanted Facebook messages, that he lived near her, and that she wanted to pursue harassment charges. She provided messages to the officer's email. That is not a Facebook rumor. That is a police report. And this is where the story turns into a full-blown Live Oak accountability issue because Christina is not just saying some random guy online was bothering me. The claim is that Gary Colton was connected to LOCAP, the Live Oak Citizens Assisting Police Program. And if that is true, then this becomes bigger than neighbor drama. Because now we have a police-connected citizen patrol participant allegedly using social media to harass, discredit, accuse, and intimidate a woman who was already publicly questioning city government. Chapter 6. The cease-and-desist becomes the doxxing case. According to the documents and screenshots I received, Christina sent a cease-and-desist letter to Gary Colton dated December 26, 2025. The letter accused him of defamation and harassment, including public comments suggesting drug use and mental instability. Then, Live Oak Police later generated a report 2601-0966 titled Harassment, Unlawful Disclosure of an Address or Phone Number. That report says Christina Lichtenberg posted a victim's address on social media, allegedly with intent to harm the victim's reputation or place the victim at a disadvantage. Now here's where the public needs to slow down and ask the obvious question. Was Christina maliciously doxing someone? Or was she posting a legal notice, cease and desist, or evidence connected to a complaint against the man she says has been harassing her? Those are two very different things. And if the address was already connected to a legal notice, police report, court filing, public apartment dispute, or public record context, then the public deserves to see exactly how Live Oak justified turning this into a criminal case. Because from where I'm sitting, this looks a whole lot like the kind of case where the person complaining about harassment becomes the one arrested. And that should concern everyone. Chapter 7. The Disturbance report that doesn't pass the smell test. Now let's talk about another report involving Gary. In March 2026, Live Oak Police responded to a disturbance involving Gary Richard Colton and Lazaro Jr. Manzo Rodriguez. The supplement says Manzo told police he was outside on a phone call when a male on a balcony started yelling at him, grabbed a green water can, and threw water in his direction. The water allegedly landed on his shoe and on the cement. Then the officer spoke with Gary Colton. Gary said he had been asleep and heard a male yelling outside his window. Then he said he looked outside, told the male to quiet down, and later said that while he was on his porch watering plants and cleaning solar panels, some water possibly fell on the male. So which is it? Was he asleep? Was he outside watering plants? Was he cleaning solar panels? Was it accidental? Was it a confrontation? In my opinion, this is exactly the kind of contradiction that makes people question Gary's credibility. And when a person tied to a police-connected citizen patrol program has credibility issues, that is not a small problem. That is a public safety problem. Chapter 8. Citizen on patrol or wannabe cop. Now let's be clear. A citizen on patrol volunteer is not a police officer. They are not sworn law enforcement. They are not investigators. They are not prosecutors. They are not judges. They do not get to act like neighborhood intelligence officers. Yet the evidence and screenshots suggest Gary Colton presents himself with military imagery, comments heavily on police pages, appear connected to LOCAP, and publicly attacks people with accusations like stolen valor, doxxing, and criminal intent. The city of Live Oak publicly promoted LOCAP as a public safety partnership between the Live Oak Police Department and the Live Oak Citizens Assisting Police. The city praised LOCAP for building relationships with residents through public safety and community programs. That sounds nice in a press release, but here's the question. What happens when the person wearing the LOCAP shirt becomes the person residents are complaining about? What happens when the so-called helper becomes the alleged harasser? What happens when the citizen patrol guy appears to be using his city connection to elevate personal grudges? Because if Live Oak is going to put citizens under the umbrella of public safety, then Live Oak owns the vetting, the supervision, the discipline, and the consequences. Chapter 9. the DD-214 stolen valor issue. Now let's talk about the DD-214 issue. Gary Colton and or accounts connected to this dispute posted images accusing Christina of stolen valor, claiming she was not a veteran and referencing her military separation information. Let me be very careful here. I'm not saying Gary illegally obtained Christina's DD-214 as a proven fact. What I am saying is this. A DD-214 is not something some random citizen on patrol member should just magically have unless Christina provided it, posted it publicly, or it came from some lawful public or authorized source. So the public has a right to ask, how did Gary Colton get access to that document or image? Who gave it to him? Was any city, police, court, or law enforcement adjacent resource used to obtain it? Did anyone connected to Live Oak circulate it? Was it used to smear a mayoral candidate? Those are fair questions. And if Live Oak wants to clear that up, then produce the records. Produce the emails. Produce the text. Produce the LOCAP communications. Produce the internal complaints. Produce the flock access logs. Produce the audit trail. Because silence is not transparency. Silence is damage control. Chapter 10. The race and minority targeting concern. Now I'm going to say this carefully. Based on the documentation and statements, there are concerns that Gary Colton appears to involve himself in conflicts with women, minorities, and people he seems to view as suspicious, inferior, or criminal. There are screenshots and statements suggesting insulting comments, racially charged concerns, and a pattern of targeting people over minor issues. I'm not going to sit here and say a court has ruled Gary Colton is racist, but in my opinion, the pattern raises serious questions about bias, temperament, and whether someone like this should be anywhere near a public safety volunteer program. Because when someone connected to a police-adjacent group appears to treat certain residents like suspects, problems, criminals, or targets, that deserves investigation. Not excuses, not awards, not Facebook PR posts, an investigation. Chapter 11. The bigger Live Oak problem. The Gary Colton story is not just about Gary Colton. It is about Live Oak. It is about whether the city of Live Oak and the Live Oak Police Department are properly supervising their Citizens on Patrol program. It is about whether city-connected people are being allowed to harass, monitor, or discredit political critics. It is about whether a small business owner who questioned city power ended up becoming a criminal defendant while the people attacking her online got treated like helpers. And it is about whether the flock surveillance system is being used only for legitimate law enforcement purposes, or whether that system is being misused as a tool for city politics, code enforcement, intimidation, or retaliation. Christina said in her interview that she believes the flock system was used to monitor her movements and that city departments had no business knowing where she was. She also said only sworn officers should have access. And officers in the video confirmed that only sworn officers have access to flock and that, to their knowledge, it was not live video. That exchange matters because if only sworn officers have access, then any leak of flock information to non-law enforcement people should be easy to investigate. Who searched her plate? Who received alerts? Who shared information? Who requested lookups? Were any searches tied to code enforcement, city hall, LOCAP, or political complaints? That is the records request. That is the audit. That is the story. Chapter 12. What Live Oak needs to answer. Live Oak needs to answer these questions. Was Gary Richard Colton officially part of LOCAP? Was he vetted? Was he trained? Was he issued shirts, badges, radios, credentials, access, parking privileges, or equipment? Was he ever paid, reimbursed, given stipends, or treated as part of a city payroll or volunteer program? Were complaints filed against him? Was he disciplined? Did Live Oak know about the police reports involving him? Did Live Oak know Christina had accused him of harassment before the doxing case was pursued? Did anyone connected to Live Oak provide, circulate, or discuss Christina's DD-214? Did anyone run Christina, her vehicle, her address, her business, or her associates through Flock or any police database? Did any city official, police command staff member, LOCAP member, committee member, or board member discuss Christina's business, campaign, criminal case, or social media activity? Because these are not conspiracy questions. These are accountability questions. So here is where we are. Gary Richard Colton appears in multiple Live Oak police records. He has accused others of lying, doxing, and stolen valor. Residents have complained about him. Christina Lichtenberg filed a harassment-related report involving unwanted Facebook messages with Gary listed as involved. Christina later became the subject of a criminal report alleging unlawful disclosure of address or phone number. Gary claimed in federal court that he was hit with more than 35 false police reports, but the records produced so far do not appear to support that number. Screenshots and images suggest Gary was connected to Live Oak Citizens on Patrol LOCAP program. So the question is simple. Is Gary Richard Colton just a nosy neighbor with a Facebook account? Or is he a police-adjacent city volunteer using that connection to intimidate, harass, discredit, and target people who challenge Live Oak's power structure? Because in my opinion, this man does not appear to have the temperament for any public safety role. And if Live Oak is letting people like this operate under a city police-connected program, then Live Oak has a problem much bigger than Gary Colton. They have a supervision problem, they have a vetting problem, they have a transparency problem, and they may have a retaliation problem. Christina Lichtenberg is now running for mayor of Live Oak. And whether you support her or not, the public deserves to know if a police-connected citizen patrol figure helped fuel the online attacks, police reports, and criminal pressure surrounding her campaign. Because around here, we don't do blind trust. We do receipts, we do timelines, we do public records, and we keep digging until the people hiding behind badges, boards, titles, and volunteer shirts either explain themselves or expose themselves. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I'm your boy BZ, and I'll see you in the next video.
Tyranny, corruption, extortion.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant. BZ Watchdog News Network.